you ready to cross the fucking bridge?
Oh my yes. But
So
I
fucking
mean,
good.
but is there somebody in the way? Is the question.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hello and welcome to a little bonus episode of CRT Sound System. I'm here with Reese as always. Reese, how are you?
I'm fucking cranked. I legitimately forgot we were recording a podcast episode. I was just lost in the reverie uh battle of the song.
Yeah.
Battle at the Bridge Big, Clash at the Big Bridge. And it was you it ended and you spoke and it's like, oh, that's right. I'm performing. So yeah, and we are joined with by a guest who has joined us. Wasn't just recording an episode before this, but joined us specifically for this. Uh,
But also
Thuly, hello again.
fortuitously because yeah, so we just played Battle on the Big Bridge from Final Fantasy V, and a couple of weeks ago I had a fun idea of doing a little bonus episode which is just a bunch of different versions of this song, because it might be possibly the most apart from like the prelude and the chocobo theme is probably the single most like common track across Final Fantasy soundtracks.
Yeah.
Everybody's had a fucking go at it at this stage.
It
And
just
like,
cranks though. Like it fits in any game. Just rip it. Just do it.
yeah. Um,
I feel like it might be eclipsing the Chocobo theme. Not to be honest, I feel like the Chocobo theme they've done it so many times. It's gotten s- it gets so weird in different genres that it no longer is the same sort of like melody that it used to be. And I feel like I hear Battle at the Big Bridge more, and I feel like I hear people respond to it more than the
mm.
Chocobo theme. Maybe that's
Well,
off base,
there's a
but
couple I have here that might surprise you with their genre choices.
I can't wait.
um,
I can't wait.
yeah.
Hip Hop
Um,
Day Big Bridge.
but yeah, so it's the main reason I've been thinking about Final Fantasy V a lot lately is the Four Job Fiesta.
Oh,
No, Reese has never done the Four Job Fiesta, but Thule mentioned that he had done or he's currently doing it. Um, so for anybody who is unaware, what is the Four Job Fiesta?
The Four Job Fiesta is an event that happens every year in June into July, and it is a way to play through Final Fantasy V while a bunch of other people are playing through Final Fantasy V with some special constraints and rules that you put on yourself. And it is also associated with a charity campaign. They've done different charities over the years. This year, it's Palestine Children's Relief Fund. But the point being, the basic structure of it is that you start Final Fantasy V, you feed this website, "Hey, I'm playing Final Fantasy V," and it says, "Okay, well, your first crystal job is going to be Black Mage," and then you're able to use Black Mage, and you are stuck with 4 jobs over the course of the game. That's the basic idea of it. There's a lot of modifiers and mutators you can put on the run. You can check out the website. It's www.fourjobfiesta.com, which I am not affiliated with. It's just an activity I greatly enjoy. This
Yeah,
podcast is not affiliated with it to my knowledge. It's just a fun, cool
no,
video games thing to do.
yeah. I mean, Final Fantasy
not
V
yet.
is yeah. I'll get on to. I'll send a message to Eric who runs the bot. But yeah, I've been doing this. I was looking through my history and like it saved my history from my old dead Twitter account somehow. Like my first run on this was back in 2014, so literally 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Um,
it's been going on for a while.
yeah. It's been going on for a good while. I skipped a good few years because as much as I do love Final Fantasy V, I don't want to play it every single year. Um, but it's always nice to go back to and like as an excuse, sort of um being sort of like a community effort to get through the game and just sort of seeing everybody else get involved. It's a really really fun way to sort of to go through the game. Yeah. And I would say even if you've never played it before, it's a perfectly fine way to make this your first playthrough. Like I
Absolutely.
wouldn't be afraid of being like, oh, I want to do a normal run first. like the restraint actually makes it a lot easier for you to get through the game on your first run, I think, because like you're not worrying about splitting job points between classes, or like finding that you've like really under leveled a certain job class or something like that that you might need for later in the game. So like I do think the simplified nature of it, as long as you don't get stuck with like white mage as your first class, um,
That's surmountable, but it is difficult. But Final Fantasy
yeah,
V notably is easy. It is you have to negotiate and navigate certain fights in certain ways if you have certain job sets, but there is nothing in that game, with the exception of a couple of super bosses, that are innavigable with basically any party composition.
people have done like 4 berserker runs on this game, which for certain bosses seems like completely impossible. Like I just got to the second crystal, and fighting Garula, like that's a monster that will counter every single physical attack you do to it. So like trying to get through that with a berserker run just seems like basically impossible. But people have done it.
I have made it through what's it called in Final Fantasy V? Antlion. You know, the sandworm boss
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the desert. That with a berserker is RNG, and with a speed
Mm,
key, it's fine.
yeah. No, I think I remember seeing somebody do it for the first time on stream, and it was just like
Maddening.
it was just completely insane. Yeah. But yeah, as part of the game, then you get this song called "Battle at the Big Bridge." So that was the song that we entered in, was like the one from the original version of the game. So it's sort of one of the many climaxes of the game is when you're sort of doing an assault on the big bad's castle, and in doing so, you have to cross a bridge. And while you're doing that, you hear this song, and it's one of the best songs ever written for a video game.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it's an absolute ripper.
Mm. And the character that you fight as part of this boss is Gilgamesh, who's sort of a kind of a joke character, um, but is also very, very powerful. Um, and for whatever reason, the character just keeps coming back in different Final Fantasy games, and every time he comes back, he's pretty much implied to be the exact same guy. Um,
Yeah, he seems to
certainly,
be the only one that travels
yeah,
between these different Final
yeah,
Fantasies, and it is implied heavily that it is in fact the same Gilgamesh and knows exactly what's happened prior.
yeah. Certainly, when he shows up in Final Fantasy VIII, because that was my first time encountering Gilgamesh, was in Final Fantasy VIII, um, and not knowing what the fuck was going on until my friend Damien explained to me the whole thing with him, because Final Fantasy V hadn't come out here before,
Mhm.
or come out here at all at that point. So like, yeah, just seeing this character and then sort of seeing him just continuously pop up in different Final Fantasy games throughout the years has always been a joy. And with that, then we get a lot of different versions of it.
Yeah. By the by, if you're going to play it for your first time, my personal recommendations are to either emulate the Game Boy Advance version because it's an excellent bug fixed
Mm,
version of the Super Nintendo, or
Mm.
get the Pixel Remaster version. Number one, it's very pretty. And also, if you're worried about the grind because you're an adult with responsibilities, it has experience and job point multiplayers baked into it.
yeah.
So you can just cut out all of the grind, give yourself 8 times
You don't have to
experience
go
and
down to
JP
that
if you
one
want to.
basement where they have the statues that you kill for 6 hours.
Object that out.
Um, I definitely remember this from emulating the SNES version when the translation hit,
Mm,
which was a huge moment in my fucking life. I was just be like, oh my fucking god, we're doing this. And because it had been, I was such a Final Fantasy head, and I'd heard. Was it coming out over here? I heard rumblings from my nerd friends. It's like, yeah, they're trying to emulate it. They're trying to translate it, and when it finally there's a better translation now, is my understanding.
mm.
But even before, that was enough to basically go through it, and it was so fucking
I
good.
think
So
the
this
the
is,
GBA translation is more or less what they use now, because I
I'm
think it's the
sure,
same in the
Yeah.
Pixel remaster as well.
Yeah, it's really close to the GBA.
Mm,
There's a couple things that are kind of rephrased, but overall, it's very much the GBA translation. There was a PlayStation version of it that it's not a great version of the game. I strongly
Nope.
recommend against playing that one. So that GBA version, speed key it or pixel remaster, turn on 8 times and just play through it. It's an easy game. It's fun. It goes. Once you get past the initial hump of that game, it goes and it doesn't stop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's real fun.
I also want to mention that Gilgamesh shows up in the comedy side quest in Final Fantasy XIV, that where it's just like them straight up being as goofy as possible for every expansion, or almost every expansion now, where it's about like a very like heroic, very stupid detective character that, you know, doesn't know how to think or do anything, but always stumbles into the right to the right answer eventually, and it thinks of stupid deductions. And Gilgamesh is his recurring foil. And so it's it's the perfect kind of moment. Is there I think there are 2 raids, like just single encounter raids where you fight him, and it's every time I get them in the random random raid queue, or random raid roulette as they call them, it's everybody is so fucking cranked because it's not it's an easy raid. The Battle of the Big Bridge is playing and everybody's just like, yeah, let's do this, and just everyone's charging and cheering and changing their you know, popping off the cosmetic fireworks. It's great.
Man, I've never heard the FF14 version. I'll bet it's a absolute great rendition of that song.
Yeah, definitely worth listening to. Right, so let me see here. Yeah, so we might as well jump into these because it's going to be one big long block of these, as we normally do for our bonus episodes. So the first track is the Black Mages version. So we might talk a little bit about the Black Mages later, but it's Nobuo Uematsu's pretend ELP band, essentially, where he plays Final Fantasy music. Then we have the Final Fantasy XIV version composed or arranged by Masayoshi Soken. We have the Pixel Remaster version, which was done by Yuko Komiyama and Hidenori Miyanaga. Then we have the Final Fantasy 13-2 version, which is composed by Hiroyuki Togo. We have a version from an album called Final Fantasy Tribute Thanks. It doesn't appear in any games, it's just on this weird little cover album. That's by Sekizima Takero. Then from Final Fantasy 12, we have Hitoshi Sakimoto's version. And then lastly in the block is from the Theatrhythm Final Fantasy version, and that is by Hiroyuki Maruyama. thank you both for going on that lovely journey with me.
What a wonderful journey! That was so good.
We
Yeah.
crossed the bridge.
We certainly did. Yeah, like there's so many good versions of it. The one that I probably like the most is the one from that tribute album by Sekizima Takero. It's just like it's such a light version, and it's so silly, but then towards the end, like it just the way it sort of like all the different competing elements and the glissandos and everything that's going on is just it's such a good little way to sort of interpret that track.
It's so charming, and the ending
Yeah.
of it has like just this modern vibe to it. I mean, modern is in like 50s compositional vibe to it, and it's so cool where it just kind of breaks down on itself in like an organized fashion. It's so gorgeous. I'd never heard
Mm.
that before. Thank you.
Yeah, like it's I sort of did this as a joke, but also just because I love this song and I love that everybody else everybody who works at Square loves it too, and it's just like just wants to continue going back to it. And I did want to just quickly touch on the Black Mages as well. So um, this is one of the like when I first started getting into video game music. It was through Final Fantasy music primarily, just because that's what I was playing all the time at the time. And then this Black Mages album came out, and I was like just completely blown away by it. And it's literally just Nobuo Uematsu put together a band just so you could pretend to be in ELP. Just he was like trying to do his best. Is it Keith Emerson as the keyboard player in ELP? I'm always forgetting who's who in that band, but
Yeah.
yeah. um, but yeah, it's like just a real fun time. Thank you both for joining me for this very fun little bonus episode. It might be a little bit longer, I think, than our usual bonus episode length, but that's no harm as well.
It breezed by. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
just
Yes, it did.
yeah, real joy to listen to. I won't bore people with the plugs. I think this time we'll probably
Oh
just
no.
go right into the last track. So the last version I have is just Battle at the Big Bridge version 2 from the Final Fantasy Record Keeper soundtrack. So that is arranged by Yoshitaka Suzuki. The Record Keeper, I've never played the game, but there's like 4 official soundtracks for it, and they're all fucking great. There's a bunch of new music, and there's a bunch of like really cool arrangements and remixes of classic Final Fantasy tracks. They're all on Spotify, and I would definitely recommend checking out the Record Keeper soundtracks for some good tunes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So thank you so much for listening to this little bonus episode, and hope you have a good Four Job Fiesta.
All right. Later.
Later.